These 5 petrifying rhino encounters will keep you up at night. Number 5. At Kaziranga National Park in India, an elephant trainer learns why you should never step anywhere between a protective mother rhino and her calf. The clip begins with the furious mother rhino charging at the terrified man who was already hanging on a tree for his dear life. Despite having forced the elephant trainer up the tree, the angry mother rhino continues to butt its 1.5-foot-long horn aggressively at the tree with her young calf behind her. After giving the man a stern warning which he definitely won't be forgetting anytime soon, coupled with some onlookers barking at the fearless rhino, the overprotective mother eventually decides to leave the man behind and return to the wild. Imagine if the man could not climb the tree. We wonder how it would have turned out if that was the case. Number 4. In this bone-chilling encounter, a group of tourists in a truck annoyed a massive rhino bull by getting in between the fearless rhino and its family. What happened next will make your legs tremble in fear. The clip begins with the gigantic rhino bull standing in the middle of the road in order to protect his cow and calf from the tourist.
You can go to the side, it's fine. I'll be blocking this one.
Despite being pissed with the tourist intruding its territory, the overprotective and territorial rhino eventually leaves the middle of the street to allow the tourist to pass.
No, I just want to grab some, but I'll be blocking this one. No, you can ask, I'm sure they don't mind.
However, when the tourists eventually decide to leave, this happens. The fearless rhino was startled by the sudden movement of the vehicle and charged at the vehicle after perceiving it as a threat. Fortunately, the truck driver was fast enough to anticipate an attack and move just in time to avoid any damage to his vehicle or to the passengers. After this, you definitely don't want to be coming anywhere near a rhino and his calf. Number 3. This petrifying encounter at Kruger National Park in South Africa begins with a tourist driving back home when he suddenly came face to face with an enormous 6,000-pound rhino who did not seem to appreciate his presence. The terrifying rhino, who was nearly as tall as his car, gives the man a frightening stare down for a few seconds before this happens. Luckily for the man, the mean-looking rhino only bluff charged him. However, the situation is far from over, as this ferocious animal is still visibly upset at him. After a few seconds, the 6,000-pound angry rhino pretends to step away from the front of the vehicle and finally mind his business. The man, sensing opportunity to leave the scene quickly, tries to escape with his dear life when the unexpected happens. Unfortunately, this is where the video ends, and what happened afterwards remains a mystery. Number 2. In this hair-raising encounter, a group of tourists were watching a ferocious rhino from the safety of their car when the animal suddenly turned towards them. What happened next will haunt you at night. The clip begins with a group of tourists recording a 5,000-pound enormous rhino taking a stroll somewhere at the Etosha National Park in Namibia. Nothing out of the ordinary happens in the first few seconds of the clip, and the huge rhino appears to be just strolling on his own until suddenly the unexpected happens. The wild animal charged towards a Jeep full of tourists before ramming it several times, with the passengers in the truck powerless to do anything other than watch in pure horror.
Merda. No, stay. Stay.
After hammering the truck a few times, the horrid-looking rhino turns its attention to the tourist recording the event from the other car and charges at that vehicle. Unfortunately, this is where the video ends, and what happened after that remains unknown. What do you think happened? Let us know. Number 1. Residents near Chitabi Park in Nepal were going about their normal routines when they suddenly spotted an aggressive male rhino walking up to them. The clip begins with the gigantic male rhino walking down the street like any other resident living in the area. The sight of an enormous, dangerous male rhino doesn't appear to faze anyone living around the area, as residents are seen playfully laughing and going about their business, despite having a wild animal in their midst. However, one of the male residents, who also happens to be taking a stroll, seems to forget that male rhinos can be very aggressive. What happened next will give you many sleepless nights. Fortunately for the man, other residents living in the area were able to call his attention to what could have been a fatal attack just in time, which allowed him to escape within a hairbreadth. What do you think you would do if you went out on your street one day and found a huge rhino walking down your street? What are your thoughts on these encounters? Have you ever had a similar experience that made your blood run cold? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you in the next scary adventure.